Charles II of Spain was born on November 6, 1661, as the fifth and last child from the second marriage of his father, Philip IV of Spain, with his niece, Mariana of Austria, daughter of Emperor Ferdinand III of the Holy Roman Empire. Originally, Mariana was destined to marry Prince Balthazar Charles, but Balthazar died prematurely. The marriage of Philip IV to Princess Mariana was the culmination of a long series of marriages between relatives within the Habsburg monarchy and related families, with the result that the chances of Charles II suffering genetic disorders were about as great as in a parent-child or brother-sister marriage. Marriages between third-degree relatives were very common among members of the Habsburg house at the time and are in themselves without much risk. But if it happens too often within a family, things will go wrong at some point. A warning sign for the Habsburg kings was undoubtedly the high mortality rate among their children at a young age, a rate higher than that of the poverty-stricken population, but it did not prevent them from marrying within their family again and again. Immediately after birth, it was noticed that Charles II was not well. He was deformed and sickly, of low intelligence, mentally unstable, and incapable of creating offspring. Charles was only 4 years old when his father, Philip IV, died. Charles now became King of Spain, the southern Netherlands, Naples, and Sicily. His mother, Mariana of Austria, acted as regent during his minority. But even as he got older, Charles could not rule himself, due to a long list of health problems. All of Charles's external features that were typical of the Habsburgs were magnified in Charles II's case. His head was disproportionately large, and his Habsburg chin stuck out so much that he could barely eat. He could not speak until he was about 4 years old and did not walk until he was 8. In addition to his physical problems, Charles II was mentally unstable and unable to receive an education. Although Charles was very sickly, he married twice. The first time was in 1679 with Marie-Louise d'Orléans, who was a niece of Louis XIV. Apparently, he was deeply in love with her and they devoutly prayed in church so that they would not remain childless. However, she never conceived, and after 10 years of marriage, she died. After Marie-Louise's death, and under pressure from his entourage, Charles got remarried to Maria Anna of Neuburg, who was a sister-in-law of Leopold I, Holy Roman Emperor. At that time, Charles's condition was deteriorating. He had family members exhumed in order to spend time with their corpses and wept over the body of his dead wife Marie-Louise, a habit he apparently inherited from Joan of Castile. His second marriage also remained childless. Because Charles II was born in a time of superstition, it was thought that the devil was behind his mental and physical problems. Therefore, he was nicknamed the Bewitched, and several exorcists tried to drive the devil out of the Spanish king without any success. At the age of 35, Charles II was paralyzed, epileptic, almost toothless, completely bald, and almost blind. A year later, he would also become deaf. On November 1st, 1700, he died at the age of 38. To this day, scientists speculate about the Spanish king's ailments. One possibility is that the king suffered from Martin-Bell syndrome, which can lead to a somewhat elongated head, larger ears, and slight intellectual impairment. Especially the physical characteristics of this syndrome correspond to portraits of Charles II. Other scientists suspect Charles II probably suffered from a form of Klinefelter syndrome. This would have made him intersex, which would explain, among other things, his probable infertility. The ambiguity surrounding Charles's gender stems from a letter which was sent to an ambassador in Madrid, which stated Charles was not male but female. After the death of the 30-year-old Charles II, it was decided to carry out an autopsy. Under normal circumstances, an autopsy was not performed on a member of the Habsburg family, But since it was thought that Charles II had been bewitched, an exception was made. The autopsy concluded that the Spanish king had, among other things, not a drop of blood in his body, his heart was the size of a peppercorn, he had one black testicle, and his head was full of water. Although the life and autopsy of Charles II still leave many unanswered questions, it is clear that many of his ailments, including the Habsburg chin, stemmed from generations of inbreeding. Although the autopsy may not be completely reliable, it is certain that Charles II lived a hard life full of illnesses and inconveniences. With Charles II's death, not only did his unfortunate life end, but because he had no children, the Spanish branch of the Habsburg family died as well. Shortly before his death, Charles II decided in October 1700 that Philip of France, Duc d'Anjou, and the grandson of Louis XIV should inherit the Spanish crown. Philip of France was chosen as successor because Charles believed that, under the protection of the powerful Sun King, Philip would be best able to protect the integrity of the Spanish territory. However, with the outbreak of the War of the Spanish Succession in 1701, even Charles's last wish to preserve the territorial integrity of his empire was lost. Thank you for watching.